D. Mace, Finnegan, and Donick 1025, The Game. Broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and David Janes here with you. Willie Donick will join us momentarily. Big thanks to Willie and Derek for holding it down for me yesterday when I was out. And the reason I was out yesterday is because yesterday was Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is the most important day, I would say, of the Jewish calendar. Mm-hmm. It is the Jewish Day of Atonement. And as part of atoning, you fast from sundown on Wednesday to sundown on Thursday. And yesterday, as I sat in temple, my stomach growling as I fasted, Derek, I thought about all those who I wronged over the past year. Yom Kippur is all about making amends. So I wondered to myself, do I owe Nashville SC supporters an apology for my U.S. Open Cup take on Wednesday night? I was not on the show yesterday, but I did take a glimpse at the text line, and I saw our friend Joey from Bellevue say this, quote, "Hey guys, where's Lex Luthor?" First of all, Lex Luthor, I am not a Superman fan. That may come as a shock to some of you, but what I know of Lex Luthor, other than being bald, is he's incredibly intelligent. So thank you, Joey, for the compliment.
And rich.
And rich. Okay, sounds even better. Joey from Bellevue said, "Hey, guys, where's Lex Luthor? I wanted to talk to him about downplaying Nashville SC winning a trophy last night," meaning Wednesday night. He was questioning the legitimacy on Twitter. So here is where this argument stems from, Derek. And as I said the other day, this is a judgment-free zone. So if I say anything out of pocket, I want you, and when Willie shows up, I want Willie and David as well to pounce if I say anything incorrectly here. So here's where I angered Nashville SC supporters on Wednesday. So Nashville SC won the U.S. Open Cup on Wednesday night. And I saw this tweeted by the MLS account. I saw this tweeted by Nashville SC and others, that this represents the first major professional sports championship in Tennessee history. And my initial reaction was, I mean, sure. And look, I am not a soccer fan at all. So just keep that in mind. But here's what I have learned, Derek Mason, about the U.S. Open Cup. It is the longest running soccer tournament in the United States. It started in 1914. So it is a prestigious tournament. There are 96 clubs that participate in this tournament at multiple levels. 16 of those 96 clubs, so 1/6 of the field, were, as is my understanding, full-fledged MLS teams, including Nashville SC. So this was my argument. And again, Nashville SC supporters, you can get on me, 615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. Nick Frazier is hanging out back there, waiting to say something as Willie Donick joins us. This was my take. I will read it directly from X. Quote, "No disrespect intended to Nashville SC and its fans, but this is not the MLS championship, right? For it to be the, quote, first professional team championship for the state of Tennessee, end quote, doesn't it need to be the league's actual championship?" Now, I did not tweet this the other night, but I'm still going to say it, and I'm probably going to regret saying it.
Go ahead.
But I'm going to say it anyway.
Chaos.
There was a point on Wednesday evening when I thought to myself, wouldn't this, meaning Nashville SC winning the U.S. Open Cup, wouldn't this be the equivalent of the Memphis Grizzlies winning the NBA in-season tournament and claiming that it was the first professional team championship for the state of Tennessee?
Ooh.
Oh. Nick Frazier has his hand over his mouth back there.
So what would you say, Nick?
That right there is disrespect.
Oh, wow.
That's why I didn't tweet it.
Wow.
But I did say it. So, oops. I will atone for that next Yom Kippur and a year from now.
But you thought it.
I did think it, and then I decided to say it.
On live radio.
On live radio.
There you go.
So like to me, look, and I mean this, I actually mean this sincerely. Nashville SC supporters, go nuts. Be proud of your team. Okay. MLS fans, I would say, soccer fans in the United States. Let's do it more broadly.
Mhm.
Soccer fans in the United States, Willie Donna can attest to this, are similar to hockey fans in the United States in quote unquote non-traditional markets. We suffer from please like my sports syndrome. We want the casual sports fans to love our sport as much as we do. So Nashville SC supporters, I get where you're coming from. But it's going to be difficult for y'all to convince the casual sports fan that this constitutes the first major professional sports championship in Tennessee history. That is technically true, but I don't think it holds the same weight as if Nashville SC were to win the MLS Cup, or
Because it's not that.
or the Titans were to win the Super Bowl, or the Predators were to win the Stanley Cup. I think it sounds like a great achievement. Again, I'm not a soccer fan. I understand that. That may undercut my entire argument. But I just can't get there.
Okay,
I can't get there.
so Nashville fans, would you rather have your team, our team? Would you rather have the MLS Cup or the CONCACAF Cup? Which one would you want? Which one? I'm Nick.
That's tough, Derek, because you mentioned CONCACAF Champions Cup. It's different because that's like the whole,
Yeah,
area.
yeah.
So if you mentioned the U.S. Open Cup and in comparison to the MLS Cup, I'd say MLS Cup. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's good to win a trophy.
This is okay. So this is I didn't mean CONCACAF. I meant
I know
US
what you
Open.
meant. Yeah. I'd say MLS Cup, and that validates Adam's point there, because if you win a championship in soccer, it's kind of different from NHL, where if you win President's Trophy, the comparison to that is a Community Shield, which is the best record. But if you look at soccer right now and you go and compare it to U.S. Open Cup and the league and the actual MLS Cup, I'd say MLS Cup.
Okay, and I think, not to disparage, the U.S. Open Cup, but yes, congratulations to Nashville SC. But I would tend to think it means more if you won the MLS championship. I think the noise would be a lot louder if you won the MLS championship. Great that they won this championship, but I'm sure a lot of guys on that team, when you played it, you aim to win the MLS championship because that's the league you're in.
And one more thing to that, D-Mace, like in soccer, if you win multiple championships in any sport, really, but especially soccer, because you can only, for Nashville, they only qualified for 2 championships this year, which is U.S. Open Cup and MLS League Championship, right? Last year, they were in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. They were in the Leagues Cup. They were in U.S. Open Cup a few years back. Like, they were in more tournaments last 2 years than they were this year. So for them to win the U.S. Open Cup and the MLS Cup potentially, that's a pretty big feat to accomplish, especially for soccer terms. Because if you win more than one championship, that's where it goes to show you that this is a different standard. I think that's where Nashville SC fans and generic soccer fans need to understand winning a championship in any aspect is great. Now, I am in the camp of not saying it's the first legit, big championship, because the Preds and the Titans have done stuff like that as well, but we'll see.
Well, how would you weigh in on the Sounds winning the Pacific Coast League Championship in 2005 or the Southern League a couple of times? Like, we're talking about professional. That's professional by definition.
Now we're getting into the weeds here.
Well, I mean, that just shows that we're not looking through one prism.
Exactly.
The Grizzlies won 2 summer leagues, so
and
they
we're
also
also-
won championships.
Okay.
We're also learning about how a soccer team has different things that you are
Exactly.
playing for. It's not just like in my experience.
Is Frazier
grow
still
up
back there?
For professional stuff,
Yeah.
you're competing for a league championship. I didn't even know about these cups and tournaments
Me either.
when they started. Now I'm starting to learn.
I have a question for Frazier that has been posed on our text line. Is it the equivalent to winning a bowl game in college football?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, sir.
More prestigious than a bowl game?
Yes.
Okay.
If you're comparing it to the Music City Bowl, which we all love in this beautiful city of
Of
Nashville,
course. Who doesn't
we
love the
it.
Music City Bowl?
But this is more
Bigger.
than that.
Okay.
Okay. Let's just get to our text line. Oh boy, I'm afraid.
Ooh, they coming after you.
Let's get to your texts on this. One texter says the Vols have won championships. The Vols are not a professional team. Caleb says
Although
you're
now in the NIL,
Yeah, they are
it's
professional.
it's kind of a blurred line.
Exactly.
Caleb says you're correct, Adam. Thank you, Caleb. Brian says yes, Adam, you are correct, and you are the man for saying it. Thank you, Brian. Joel says, Adam, stay in your lane. Joey, who called me Lex Luthor yesterday, and again, I took that as a compliment because I know he's bald.
You have
and
a similar, you have a similar hair look.
He's bald,
as do I.
but apparently he's both intelligent and rich.
So
So
he's a genius.
So yeah.
But he's evil.
Joey
He's
says,
an evil
Adam,
genius.
stop hating on Nashville SC. Even ESPN mentioned it as Nashville's first professional trophy. One texter says, isn't the AFC championship a professional championship?
But that's that
but
is
it's
not
just
the championship.
I was just telling the story, really to Big Joe and Adam and whoever else was in here about because all of my memorabilia, Marcy has it, my ex-wife, because it's the kid stuff. So I have a few things, but that's really about it. And half the stuff I don't know where it is. They do. So she thought she or somebody stole my AFC championship ring. And they were going crazy looking for call it pawn shops. And come to find out it was deep buried in, in some storage and stuff. So they got it. But I've never worn that ring. It wasn't until a month ago when she found it, well, misplaced it and found it, that I put it on. Because to me, if it's not the Super Bowl, I'm not wearing it. I'm thankful that we got it and the parade and everything, but I just can't walk around with an AFC championship ring. Just can't. So if I'm not winning my league's championship, then everything else is just kind of second fiddle.
I'll give you a personal experience of mine. At Vanderbilt, when I was a freshman, we won the NIT.
Mm-hmm.
We cut the nets down. It was a 32-team national invitation tournament, and it was great.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not going around telling everybody we won a national championship. It's different than winning the NCAA tournament, right? Which we reached the next year. And that was in my mind, a better achievement, a better team.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think you can have a great experience of winning a big national tournament, but it's all relative. It's all in context. And I think that's what we're trying to discuss here. This is the fun part of Sports Talk Radio, right?
I won a championship.
It's not a diss, right? It's just trying to put it in its proper order in the universe.
I won a championship. What kind?
And Nick Fraser is helping us define what it does mean in the world of soccer.
NIT. That's how you say it.
Yeah.
Oh, I won a championship. Oh, you did? NIT.
That's right. And I have a ring. I
got the ring.
And if you notice, I'm not wearing the ring.
But
I don't blame you, Willie.
To bring it back,
It's a nice ring, though.
To
Pretty
bring
nice.
it back to the question I posed at the beginning of the segment, do I owe Nashville SC fans an apology for my U.S. Open
Nick
Cup take?
Nick Fraser's just said, yes, you do.
Yes, I would say you do.
To quote the great Larry David, no apology is forthcoming.
Well, Nashville SC fans, you know who to call and where to call.
Yeah,
All right?
615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHunting.com.
Just text. Don't call. Just
Yeah,
text.
yes. David screens the calls.
Exactly.
So, yes. For real, Nashville SC fans, go nuts.
Congrats.
Congratulations. I just to claim that it's the first team championship won by a professional, whatever it was. I just think it's a little bit of a stretch. Speaking of professional teams, the Tennessee Titans have released their injury report ahead of their matchup on Sunday afternoon in Glendale, Arizona.
Who?
Glendale, Arizona.
No. What professional team?
The local professional football team.
Who?
The Tennessee Titans.
Who?
They're not professional either.
No. I'm just messing with you.
I mean, they're not playing. They're not playing like a
Yes.
professional football team.
I'm just playing this Jones, and that's all.
Okay. Nevertheless, the injury report is out. JC Latham out again. No JC Latham against the Arizona Cardinals. Mike Brown will be out. Blake Hance will be out. And Bryce Oliver will be out. Tajay Spears is questionable, as is Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley did not practice on Wednesday or Thursday with a knee/elbow injury, but he was limited today in practice and is listed as questionable. So there is your injury report for the Titans. And again, speaking of the Titans, Paul Kaharski from paulkaharski.com will join us coming up next to discuss those Tennessee Titans. 615-737-1025 if you want to react to the Titans or if you want to yell at me. I put myself out there, Nashville SC supporters. If you want to yell at me, if you want to call me names, I had to mute my tweets on X, which is I had to mute my tweets on Twitter. I had to mute my posts on X. That's confusing. I had to mute my posts on X because y'all were saying really mean things to me. There were a couple of F-offs in there and stick to this and stick it up there.
Man, why do people get so
Rude,
angry?
man. Come on, guys. Just relax.
People,
Right.
why do y'all get so angry?
If I have to, I will atone for the sin next year on Yom Kippur.
It's just sports, guys. Or just remember that. It's just a sport.
615-737-1025. Wondering where to go to watch NFL games this Sunday? Come to Twin Peaks in Madison, home of the 29-degree beer, and join 1025 The Game for the pregame show before the Titans take on the Arizona Cardinals. Pregame show is brought to you by Parman Tractor and Equipment and Tennessee Brew Works. D. Mace, Vingan, and Donick 1025. The Game, Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. We are presented by Bax Homeworks, which transforms kitchens, bathrooms, and living spaces into places you can't wait to come home to. Get a free estimate right now at baxhomeworks.com. Let's go to our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com and welcome in Paul Kaharski from PaulKaharski.com. First off, Paul, congratulations to your Yankees as they advance to the ALDS against the Toronto Blue Jays.
I mean, the Red Sox are a bad team, but beating the Red Sox always gives a Yankees fan joy. And to watch all of my friends who are fans of loser teams like the Mets and the Red Sox sitting at home.
Why did you even congratulate him?
Other sports is just a joy.
Is there anybody in this room who qualifies?
Happy hockey season.
Hey, Paul.
Hockey season.
Hold on. Hey, Paul. If the the Yankees had lost, would you congratulate Met fans? Red Sox fans?
Yeah, I'd congratulate Mets fans for choking it away and not making the playoffs. I would.
But you definitely wouldn't congratulate Red Sox fans.
Willie,
I mean,
you're biting your tongue over there.
I would say, hey, you're better than us in this series, and I hate it, and I hate you.
Willie, your thoughts?
The thing is, I really like the city of Boston. It's just the part where it's filled with Bostonians that's the problem.
Wow, he's harsh.
Anything to add, Willie?
Hey, I have no retort. The Mets absolutely stunk it out down the stretch. So
He knows it.
I have no comeback.
He knows how it works. I mean, he's been saying that for years and years. It's on playback.
Well, the
Mets sound like Cowboy fans.
The Mets have more recently. Well, I don't know. There's nothing.
That's too much, huh?
There's nothing I can say. I was gonna sit here and say, when's the last time? Probably Andy Pettit, the last homegrown Yankee pitcher to pitch
Cam
something
Schlittler?
like that. Cam Schlittler, what an unbelievable! Be careful how you say that, by the way.
Yeah.
That was one of the best games I think I've seen pitched in a long. I mean, that's up there as good as you can pitch.
Yeah, he's a hero, and then McMahon going over the rails there. I mean, if they turn out to do anything, 2 huge moments. But they could very easily go and lose to Toronto badly. So at least they beat the Red Sox, I might wind up saying.
Let's turn our attention towards the Titans, Paul. You posted a story a couple of hours ago on PaulKaharski.com with the headline, NFL officiating clip undercuts Titans complaint on kicking ball. For those who have not read it, what were you able to uncover about what happened against the Colts a couple of weeks ago?
Well, the NFL puts out these officiating videos and narrated by Walt Anderson, who's kind of their guru for such things. And he got around to this kicking ball situation, and he basically says, and I think that according to the league, the confusion lies in on a 25-second play clock, which is what you get after a timeout, you don't have the looseness of getting the kicking ball in. So if you want the kicking ball in, they're presuming that you've made a decision, you've asked for the right ball to be placed in play. So we've seen teams run their offense off and their kicking team on during a play. But I think if you're paying more close attention now going forward, how often is that off a 40-second play clock as opposed to a 25-second play clock? And it seems the mechanics of it, it's not a rule so much as a mechanical operations issue, are that you can't do it on a 25-second play clock. Now, I talked to some other people with some other teams. They say you get burned on it more often on a punt than on a field goal. I know John Fossil said he's never seen it before. Well, I wonder how often he's been with a head coach who's running his offense on a 25-second play clock. You've got a 25-second play clock because there was just a timeout. And usually when you're taking a timeout in such a situation, it's to decide whether you're going offense or field goal. And so at any rate, the way the league talked there was, hey, we're happy to put the K-ball in for you. Tell us you're going to kick and we'll put the K-ball in. But we're not going to disrupt our operation in terms of putting a ball in play after we put the ball in play, and we put a regular ball in play because you put your offense on the field.
So, Paul, correct me if I'm wrong here, but you have said that you don't expect the Titans to make a coaching change anytime soon. But can you explain the Titans' justification, especially after Callahan, based on what you reported earlier, apparently once again demonstrated a lack of knowledge about the rules?
Yeah, I'd be careful saying lack of knowledge about the rule. I think
fair.
it's an important distinction operation between rules here. This is not. It's in a different basket to me than an elbow equaling 2 feet.
Fair enough.
I think they remain determined to stay patient. They don't know what they're going to get out of an interim coach. It may be some slight boost in performance, but it also is a disruption of the consistency that they've sought to bring Cam Ward. And I know there's a logical response saying that Cam Ward's not doing anything, and what's the harm in disrupting him a little bit when he'd still be with familiar people and he'd be heading towards somebody new next year anyway. They've also preached patience, and I think if you pull the rug out from under Brian Callahan right now, you're kind of saying to candidates for the job upcoming after this year, emphasizing your dysfunction and saying, like, look, we fired John Robinson during the season. We fired Brian Callahan during the season, in addition to firing Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthon, all in a very short period of time. Here's a flashing sign that says, if you have another job offer, you're better off going there than here, and we'll wind up with a lesser candidate than maybe we could have gotten, even though we have an attractive quarterback.
Now, Paul, why do you think, because we've been discussing, obviously, the quarterback, the head coach and his debacles and him giving over play calling duties, but why and I'm not calling for anyone to, believe me, lose their job or the heat to be turned up on anyone, but I am kind of surprised, and I was wondering if you are, that Dennard Wilson, the heat hasn't been turned up on him in what his defense hasn't done. I know Jeffrey Simmons is playing well, and maybe that's why they haven't, the heat hasn't, sort of been turned up, or the light isn't on him, because Jeff is playing well, Xavier Woods is playing well. So you got guys that are doing a good job, but his defense isn't close to what we thought this defense was going to be, even though you have a few players that are playing extremely well.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's paying attention to Dennard because they're busy paying attention to Callahan. And so if the public are out there wanting the head coach, they're not as worried about the defensive coordinator. I also think there is, or appeared to be, more of an upgrade on offense than defense. I mean, we all knew, we at least thought there was some promise on the offensive side of the ball. Calvin Ridley had a good offseason. It looked like his connection with Cam was really meaningful. The 3 fourth rounders are promising pass catchers. We haven't seen enough of Helm. The offensive line was rebuilt to a certain degree and hasn't played up to the better standard that we expected. On defense, I think everybody had doubts about Snead. There are no edge rushers to be excited about, so we expected no pass rush. The second inside linebacker was a big question, and now it turns out the first one isn't doing what was expected in Cody Barton. Who's the second best player on the defense? The answer should be Amani Hooker, and he's not played well. And so it's a real challenge to name who that guy. Xavier Woods is probably that guy. Who's the third best player? That's a real tough call. But I do think Dennard talking about simplifying things now. I mean, the reason you complicated things in the first place is because you don't have the talent to affect things. So you try to, create some things that'll be hard to read for an offense. You do that and it doesn't work, and now you have to dumb it down, and your talent still isn't going to match up.
Paul Karowski is with us. And Paul, we've been trying to get through this theme this week of the best answer. So we want your perspective, and that is when you are in a fire, right? There's fire all around Cam Ward, and the goal is to get him through the fire, right? You have J.C. Latham's injury, which is causing all kinds of problems. You have Calvin Ridley's now hurt. He wasn't productive. You have all these things that have gone wrong, even with a shaky group of talent at its best when he was coming in. How do you call plays when you have this much adversity around a rookie quarterback?
Well, my personal opinion is, he's best when things break down. So what kind of mimics things breaking down? I think they're going to put him on the move. I've been preaching that this week. And I know, you want to develop him, and putting him on the move cuts the field in half and everything, and feels like, well, we're not fully developing him. Well, you got to find a balance between insisting on, a pocket play that forces him to make a full field read, and saying, well, we're not putting him on the move because we don't think he can make a full field read. We're putting him on the move because we've had better results with plays with him on the move. Now, he was on the move when he threw the interception, and I don't know why he was compelled to both leave his feet and drop into a, I thought, super sidearm. But I think putting him on the move just gets him into a better flow. And I'm not saying do it all the time, but I am suggesting that they do it more. He and Eilmaner seem to have their best connection on that, and that's maybe the best thing they've got going for them. And maybe plays like that give them a better feel, and right from the snap, something's happening for the offense, right? It's not just about looking for something, but everybody's got somewhere to go. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's how I'm feeling.
Do you think 79% of plays out of the shotgun is too high of a percentage?
I wouldn't have said it at the beginning of the season, to be honest, but the way things are trending in the league with quarterbacks going back on their center and two tight end being popular and the best teams having the best success out of that, now I think you have to look at the league and say, yes, it's too much. But, how good is he from under center? How does it lend itself to the protection issues that they have? All of those things, I think, go into consideration. But I'm going to be very curious, as it sounds like you are, to see if they do go under center more, and do maybe play more two tight end. I don't think they're getting the blocking that they necessarily need out of two tight end. But I mean, I think Udo's going to need help there, no matter who they're playing. So you automatically need one. And I'd rather see Helm maybe than Lockett on some plays.
I want to ask one more about how you asked this, and this is a particular example of what I think is an issue going forward. You're going to have trouble winning a lot of games anyway, but you're trying to preserve your rookie quarterback. You were talking about the end of the half. They ran it, they didn't maybe take a shot where they probably in the back of their mind said, I don't think we can protect him. We got all kinds of issues and we're risking things. So the development versus maybe taking the quote best shot to win, a 3rd and 12 where you maybe run a draw play, where maybe the best play to call is to take a shot with his strong arm. I'm curious about that issue going forward when you're trying to preserve him, but you're also trying to develop him. I think that also goes in line with, do you try to develop him under center while the season's going on, knowing whether you win or lose the game, maybe in the big picture is not the most important thing as much as it is developing him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it also shows zero confidence in your line. I mean,
why would you have any confidence in their line? Why would you have any with this particular line without Latham in there?
You come in, you max protect, you send two guys deep. And we see it happen all the time around the league. I know the Titans feel like they haven't been getting the calls, and certainly on the Cam Ward play where he got hit in the head, they didn't. But we see teams throw downfield in those situations all the time, going for a home run where maybe you hit the home run. You've got a play set up that you're hitting the home run or it's incomplete, or maybe you get a pass interference. And if he's going to get killed, have him throw it away. So it's not either you run it or he gets killed. I think it's either you run it or you get a shot off or he throws it away, and take the gets killed out of it. I understand there's a percentage where he gets killed because he can't throw it away or whatever. but I think you're really being doomsday-ish where you say we can't get ourselves into a situation where we could take a home run chance on plays where people around the league take a home run chance on a 3rd and 12 when you're in field goal range, where the 5 yards aren't going to make that much of a difference to Joey Sly, even under the circumstances where he missed that field goal. And you just take yourself out. A team that can't score touchdowns takes itself out of, yes, a low percentage chance to score a touchdown, but a play where there is a percentage chance to score a touchdown.
Pretty small percentage with this group.
But I do think it's some kind of a hope for your team. Like, hey, look, we do go for it. We do think that, maybe we can make something happen, as opposed to like tuck our tails and go to the locker room pretty much. Like, I don't know. It's got a feel of fight to me.
Paul Kaharski of paulkaharski.com has been our guest on D-Mays, Vingan, and Donick. You can catch him every Wednesday morning with Robbie and Rexroad. Paul, great stuff. As always, we'll catch up soon.
Hey, take the night off today, guys. But tomorrow there's baseball. So be sure to check the
the
time.
Tigers play tomorrow.
And we welcome all bandwagon jumpers.
Nobody jumps on the Yankees bandwagon. Nobody ever.
And to come jump on the Yankees bandwagon.
Nobody ever jumps on their bandwagon.
Is that bandwagon ever full?
Very pretty uniform. Very pretty.
Thank you, Paul.
See you guys.
615-737-1025. Coming up next, can the Titans actually close out a game for once? We will discuss that coming up next. 615-737-1025. This Sunday, the NFL game of the week is the Dallas Cowboys against the New York Jets at noon on Sports Talk 830. The NFL game of the week is presented by Circus Sportsbook Kentucky and Macero and 12 South.
It's the reason why we come in and be like, we right there. It's the reason why we come in and be like, I feel like we have a chance to go win football games on Sundays, because it's the small things that when you get into fourth quarter, and we talking about it, and I'm sure you guys hear from Denard, like, we get into the fourth quarter and start making up things. We're missing too many tackles. He showed us a stat today to where we had 2 missed tackles in the first half versus, second half of the games, we got like 35 missed tackles. And that shows, a football team that not doing the things and holding that stamina into the second half. So I think that's the thing we need to focus on to win football games. And, like I said, it's the reason why I come in and say, we are right there. It's just a small thing we can fix that's going to help us win a football game.
That was Jeffrey Simmons talking about the Titans' inability to close out games. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. The Titans are 0-4, but in their first 2 games of the season, losses to the Broncos and Rams, the Titans held leads in the third quarter. They were up 12-10 on the Broncos in the third quarter and 16-13 on the Rams in the third quarter. And just last week against the Houston Texans, they were only down 6-0 entering the fourth quarter. But as we have seen this season, the Titans defense runs out of gas as the game progresses. I get it. The defense has had to do a lot of heavy lifting to keep the Titans in these games. Here is their quarter by quarter point differential, guys. In the first quarter, the Titans have been outscored 30-6. Not good. In the second quarter, the Titans have actually outscored their opponents 22-16. In the third quarter, the Titans have been outscored 27-13. In the fourth quarter, the Titans have been outscored 47-10. 47-10. So what is it going to take for the Titans to close out a game for once? Arizona is coming off of 2 consecutive losses. In both of those losses, they mustered 3 points in the first half in each of those games. So we could be whatever the opposite of a nail biter is, we could be in store for that on Sunday. And we will talk about a potential actually nail-biting game between Vanderbilt and Alabama in just a moment. But, Derek, what is it going to take for the Titans to actually close out a game?
Well, you have to get the lead to close it out. They've had 3 offensive plays with the ball in the lead all year.
That is the first thing.
So I guess they failed to close that game out in the 3 plays before they got the ball back and they were not in the lead anymore.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Jeffrey just said it. They go from missing 2 tackles to missing 32 tackles. We've all watched the game in the second half, each one of these games. We saw the Indianapolis game or the Rams game when they couldn't get the back on the ground. We saw the game where, Puka Nacua makes 1 cut and safety misses it, even though Xavier Woods playing good. He blew a missed tackle there. So again, it goes back to when you are a team that lacks like top end talent, you have few, 1, maybe 2. When you don't have that top end talent, you can't afford to make many mistakes. And the Titans, not only do they not have a roster that can go toe to toe for 4 quarters, those guys that you're asking to be your leaders and asking to, take some of the slack, those guys aren't playing well. Those guys are missing tackles. Those guys are doing things that are helping you lose, not help you win, or stop you from winning, not helping you win. So first and foremost, it starts right there. Do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it. Be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. Whatever assignment there is, do your job. Don't try to do everybody else's job. You can't afford to guess right now. Why? Because guessing are for good teams. You're a bad team. You can't afford to guess, okay? Because good teams, when they guess, usually have somebody else to back them up. When you guess on this team, you ain't got nobody to back you up. We saw what happened with L'Jarius Sneed played the wrong technique. Well, 33-yard pickup, first down on 3rd and 59. Okay, so you can't afford to make no mistakes like that. So that's where it's going to have to start first. Doing your job and your job alone, making sure if I say set the edge, you set the edge. Don't try to do nothing else. Okay, that's what it's going to take for a team that is depleted of talent, and the talent that they do have isn't playing well, or that's not playing. They got to limit the mistakes. They got to limit the missed tackles. They got to limit the turnovers. But that's all. That's on offense, and they hadn't had many of those. But defense, that's where it starts. Doing your job, playing the technique. You do your job, play the technique. Some of those missed tackles, 32, you're not going to have, and that may end up in you winning a game as opposed to losing one.
I do think there is a pattern. I do think that they have looked like they've gotten worn down some. And I think it's a little bit of morale. It's definitely lack of depth and talent. And I just think sometimes that just over the course of a good game, the better team figures you out. The cream rises to the top. I definitely thought that was the case in the Rams game, where the Titans were right in the game. They were leading the game with about 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. But the Rams were just the stronger team. They finished the game. They were the better team. They figured it out. And there was a little bit of a collapse. And I think it's hard when you're behind and you have to pitch a perfect game with the support you're getting from the offense to continuously go out there and have to try to shut teams down when you're just not getting any. There's nothing on the board. There's no margin for error.
Here's another example. The Titans, was it this past game? Yeah. They had an opportunity to sack the quarterback like 2 or 3 times and missed them.
Yeah.
And the quarterback ended up gaining.
That happens a lot.
Yeah, they
Remember
end up
that
getting
was the stat from last
yardage.
year that Denard
Yes,
Wilson
exactly.
pitched.
They end up gaining yardage on those plays.
Daniel Jones comes to mind in the Colts game.
Yes.
There was
So
scrambles.
when you have
Key play.
opportunities to make the tackle in the backfield or make the tackle to stop them on third down, do you make it? That's like us, all of us in this room on a row team, and we're all rowing, and then all of a sudden I decide to row the other way. We'll still go forward, but it's going to be hard, and eventually everybody's going to get tired, and we're going to lose. That's what happened to the Titans. You got a bunch of guys rowing one way, and then 1 or 2 guys either not playing the way they need to, or they're doing their own thing, and they're rowing the opposite way. And we can play like that for a quarter, maybe 2. But when it comes third and fourth quarter, it slows everybody down. It wears everybody down. You're wearing your own self down, Titans, because you got people rowing north when everybody else is going south.
Let's go to Mike on our phone line, driven by Wilson County Hyundai.com. Mike, thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
Yeah. My question is, my comment really is, I don't want to see Cam Ward under center under any circumstances for the rest of the season. And the reason I say this is that we don't have an offensive line really that can protect him. And if he's in the shotgun 4 or 5, steps back, you can still hand off, but then he can still see the development of the rushers. And what I don't want to see him is under center. Then we're going to call a passing play or whatever. He then has to start backpedaling to set up for it, and then the pocket collapses, and then he gets crushed, even if he gets rid of the ball. So I want him physically protected the rest of the season, shotgun only, then run your plays from there. He can still run outside and throw passes from shotgun, but at least he's got 2-3 seconds to see what's coming at him.
Thank you for the call, Mike. Willie?
It's a good question, but then aren't you stunting his growth? Wouldn't you eventually like to see him be able to get comfortable? If you never do it, how's he going to get good at it? It's like if you don't learn how to drive the stick shift, you're probably never going to learn how to drive the stick shift.
I don't think it'd stunt his growth any, because I think there are a lot of quarterbacks. Because when I say, or I hope the caller means don't ever put him underneath center. I think there are a few times you have to put him underneath center. But we talked about this the other day, keeping Cam in the center, keeping Cam, in a shotgun protects him in my case, because to me, he gets underneath center, he turns his back to the ball. Man, oh man, maybe that's why, because he's in shotgun, he has a little bit more time to throw. Just think if he was underneath center, it probably wouldn't be as long. And I don't think the 2.5, 3 seconds was long. I think it was 2.5 seconds, something like that.
615-737-1025. Your thoughts on the Titans as they prepare to take on the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday afternoon. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, the biggest football game in our fair city this weekend is Vanderbilt at Alabama. And I have a question about perception when it comes to Vanderbilt that I want to pose to Willie and Derek and all of you coming up next. 615-737-1025. Speaking of that game, the Commodores, of course, will take on Alabama tomorrow. Pre-game begins at 1 o'clock on 94.9 The Fan with the kickoff at 2:30. Vanderbilt football is brought to you by Gary Force Acura, Jimmy Kelly Steakhouse, and Smoky Mountain Tops. D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick 102.5 The Game, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. You guys are in store for a treat come 5:40.
I'm gonna get yelled at.
We have controversy coming. I'm going to be lobbying
big
between
time.
now and
Wait until Take It to the Bank at the end of the program.
There's no controversy.
Well,
No.
we'll let the listeners decide at the end of the show, but we got a preview of it during the break-in.
yeah, I'm calling in Bob Barker as my lawyer.
Denied.
You can't deny I have a right in the country to the legal team, don't I? Like,
Well, I'm
Legal
thinking that's my right. I
representation,
can deny
yes.
whatever I want.
the commissioner has all
There
the
must
power.
be due process when it comes to Take It to the Bank, but we'll get to that later in the show. Of course, the football matchup you are all waiting for tomorrow, not Sunday, when the Titans take on the Cardinals, because as one texter said, Craig on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com, when talking about Titans-Cardinals, said, the opposite of a nail biter is a nail scraper. Watching it is going to be like nails on a chalkboard. You could be right, Craig, but I am hopeful that Vanderbilt's matchup at Alabama will not be one of those. The line has moved on this game. It's consistently been 10.5. On ESPN Bet at the moment, it's 11.5 in favor of Alabama, which is interesting. But Vanderbilt at Alabama, 2:30 tomorrow afternoon on ABC. Of course, College Game Day will be in Tuscaloosa for this matchup. Vanderbilt's second ever appearance on College Game Day. They are undefeated on College Game Day at 1-0. Alabama, as I mentioned the other day, it's 61st appearance on College Game Day. And I heard the two of you break down the matchup expertly yesterday. And in the lead up to this game, there have been a lot of great stories written about Vanderbilt. Our very own Joe Rexroad wrote a great column in The Athletic. Dan Wolken, who, if I'm not mistaken, Willie Donick, is a Vanderbilt alum,
He is.
wrote a great feature on Vanderbilt for Yahoo Sports with the headline, Inside Vanderbilt's Athletic Awakening. From SEC doormat to darling, here's how the mindset shifted in Nashville, with this great quote from Vanderbilt Chancellor Daniel Diermeyer. This to Dan Wolken, quote, we had to be crystal clear that we had to stop looking over our shoulder and comparing ourselves with other universities. We can pay attention to what the Ivies are doing, but at the end of the day, we need to do what is consistent with who we are. And a key component of our identity is that we do everything from Bach to baseball. We have no tolerance for mediocrity anywhere. And it's a really great story from Dan Wolken about how the university, the athletic department specifically, has gotten to this point. But here's my question. And I want to start, of course, with our resident Commodore alum, Willie Donick. How will Vanderbilt be perceived if it defeats Alabama or loses a nail biter? Because I can already imagine what happens if Alabama defeats Vanderbilt soundly. I'm not expecting that to happen. But if Alabama defeats Vanderbilt soundly, let's say it's 42-21 or 42-24. I'm just throwing numbers out there. I think the general perception of Vanderbilt football will be, well, they are who we thought they were. That sort of thing. Like, it was a nice little run they had. They can go back to being Vanderbilt now. So I'm wondering, I mean, if they win, they'll be 6-0. They will have gone on the road to beat Alabama. That's a huge deal. I'm wondering if people will still have a positive perception of Vanderbilt, even if the Commodores lose this game close. What are your thoughts?
When you say people, are you talking about locally or are you talking about nationally? Because I think there's completely different things.
Okay,
I think
well,
nationally.
Let's talk about both.
Nationally, I think I don't think there's much momentum. There's only just a little bit of understanding of how far they've come in 2 years. They're starting to get some attention, and a good performance in Tuscaloosa, I think, would take that up a notch. And then they've got some very high-level showcase games to play after that. I think here locally, even if they lay an egg, I still think there's so much more confidence and belief based on some of the things Dan Wolken wrote. I think they are doing very well locally to change how they're perceived in town. And some of the old adages of they have an older fan base. They don't have very many fans. They don't belong in the SEC. They're way behind in resources. I think little by little, they're making really big inroads. And Chancellor Diermeyer deserves a ton of credit because it starts at the top. He's the guy that can sway the people that make the decisions with resources to go all in. Clark Lee could ask all he wants. Candace Story-Lee can ask all she wants as the athletic director. But unless they okay it, it'd be the same old, same old. So I think there is definitely a perception locally that Vanderbilt is on the right track. They are in the game. You saw all the cranes and all the construction they're doing. It's visible. It's tangible. You can see what they're doing. Nationally is a different story. I think the story of this game nationally is, Vanderbilt's a nice little story. But Alabama, they're the team with momentum. They just beat Georgia. Vanderbilt won't sneak up on them this year. Alabama should beat them soundly. I think that's the national perspective.
Well, if Alabama, I guess from two standpoints here. Locally, I think no matter what, if Vandy goes down to Tuscaloosa and they lose, and let's just say if it's a close game, I think people still believe Vandy is on the doorstep. Vandy's right there. They're still in the hunt for a playoff game. That's how fans, if it stays close, I think that's how fans here will look at it, because they would have seen all the hard work, how this team has gotten better. They won't look at it as, dang it, we lost to Vandy, it's over with. They'll look at it from the standpoint of, all right, it was a tough game, really good team. We're still in it. We got a bye week. We heal up, rest, come back, and then we can really get on this thing and start going. I think from a national standpoint, it'll be all about Alabama. If Alabama wins this game thing, and say if it's just a 2-point win, a two-score win, 2 scores, people are going to look at it as, oh, Alabama did what they're supposed to do. They're not going to make a big who about it or anything else.
They're not going to say, oh, what a great quality win. There's
Absolutely.
A good quality
They're
win.
just going to say Alabama's back. That's what they're going to say. Alabama consistently played good football for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Ever since their first game of the season when they lost. Was it the first game of the season? I think it was.
Yes.
First game of the season when they lost. Since then, they played consistent and gotten better each and every week. So the story from a national standpoint will be about Alabama, and now they are the front runners for, the number one spot in the college football, number one spot in college football. So that's what would be from a national standpoint. I think as Vandy keep it close, the talk will continue to be Vandy is still that team that is proven to everybody each and every week. Last year wasn't a fluke. And then is Alabama. How good is Alabama truly? They beat Georgia, but Georgia had opportunities to win. This is how it started being framed. Georgia had an opportunity to win. They gave it to Alabama. Alabama comes back and they lose to Vanderbilt. Is Alabama a playoff team now? That's what's going to be the question. For Vandy, it's going to be like, man, this team they may end up being the best team in the country based upon those on the outside that are looking in now at Vandy.
So earlier this week, Kalen DeBoer, Alabama's head coach, did his weekly news conference, and he was asked a question about how the Crimson Tide may have overlooked Vanderbilt last season and whether that was a fair assessment. Here is what Kalen DeBoer had to say.
There's a perception that the win over Georgia last year created some overconfidence and it resulted in the team not taking Vanderbilt seriously enough just 7 days later. Is that fair? And if not, how do you see it?
Yeah, I'm not going to argue against that. You got to handle success, and you got to come back every single week in this league. And I've talked to, every coach I talk to at midfield, that's what the conversation's about is, here you go again. And you got to reload mentally, physically, emotionally to during the week, get prepared at the highest level you possibly can. go play ball. Physically, it's going to be a battle, and mentally, you got to be ready to respond. And so, we didn't handle success, however you want to put it, last year well. I mean, you can't argue that.
That was Kalen DeBoer earlier this week. Did not deny that perhaps his team overlooked Vanderbilt last
Stop
year.
making excuses.
Well, okay, but I think there's two different things here. Handling success is a thing. There's no question.
Mhm.
And that's regardless of who you play the next week
Exactly.
after a big win.
Right.
What he didn't do, which I think is telling a little bit, is he didn't give Vanderbilt a lot of credit. He didn't say anything of, Vanderbilt played a hell of a game, which they did. But so he's basically saying, we took them lightly last year. And that will not happen on Saturday for sure. For all of the reasons we've discussed all week.
I understand when a head coach says, or people perceived, that team, overlooked the team that they're playing next. You don't overlook them. And I don't even think, especially when you're playing at that level, and we're talking about Power 5 football or Power 4 football, whatever you want to call it now, and you're in Alabama and you're playing in the SEC, there's no way you should come into the next game and overlook an opponent. That's just the way I look at it, because any opponent can beat you any week in these conferences, especially the SEC, when it's from top to bottom, it's a gauntlet. So I'm not going to sit here and try to make that an excuse or prescribe to, we took Vandy lightly. No, Vandy just went in there and whooped y'all, you know what? And they stayed toe-to-toe with y'all. And then when y'all took the lead, Vandy came back and took it and won. Those are the things that people aren't talking about. Vandy took that win. It wasn't given to them. Alabama didn't give it. They took it. They did all the things they needed to do to win a football game. And Alabama did all the things they shouldn't have done to lose it. But then when they did right, Vandy came back and still scored and won the game.
So this is what I'm most curious to see in this game, because I believe in watching them that this team, not last year's team, but this year's team for Vanderbilt, is the deepest assemblage.
Yeah.
This is the deepest group of talent that they have ever had since I've been watching. It's not even close. With NIL, we talked about the experience, the graduate transfers they have, the returning group that they have added on. There's take what you think is the best team. And I would say the next best team that I've seen was the middle of James Franklin's three teams. Jordan Rodgers was the quarterback. He was a good, solid SEC quarterback. But the rest of that team, they had NFL players in the secondary. They had Zach Stacy at running back. They had Jordan Matthews at wide receiver. They had some really good players, but they were not as deep as this team. I don't think. What I want to see, I want to see if Vanderbilt can go down there and play a good game, play the level that they've been playing. I just want to see what that looks like in terms of, because do we agree that there would be no excuse? Alabama has no excuse to say, well, we took them lightly again. Like they can't say that again. You can say that last year. You could say it, and that's still maybe disrespectful to some. I hear that tone in you, Derek. And Vanderbilt ambushed them. It was 14-0 before Alabama knew what hit them, and Alabama never led in that game. Vanderbilt led from start to finish in that game, which should tell you something. But this year's team is better than last year's team. So I just want to see what it looks like, because there's always been a perception that against the top dogs in the SEC, Vanderbilt has way less margin for error. They're going to have to overachieve to win. Does it look a little bit more like an even match? The odds makers would say no if the line is 11.5. There's skepticism of that. But that, I do think it's hard to get past a perception of Alabama and the perception of that program, and Vanderbilt and the perception of that program. But when they start playing, it is going to be a little bit more about who's the better team. So I just want to see, what does the talent gap look like? So win or lose, that's what I'm most curious about.
Do you think that they're taking into account, because we've talked about this, and Big Joe gave us ammunition yesterday with the average age of each SEC team, meaning their graduate class. And do you think they're taking into account the experience? I know, and I said this yesterday, if you look at it just talent-wise, 4 stars, 5 stars, highly recruited guys, yeah, you would look at Alabama.
Alabama's way ahead.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
if you look at experience, the veteranness of this team, I would tend to think it would be a lot closer than what people are actually looking at.
Well, that's what I think I'm curious to see, because let's take basketball, where it's for a while, John Calipari's teams at Kentucky, their formula was give me the one and dones. I'll have a new team each year, but I'm going to have the best 3 or 4 freshmen in the country, or among the best. And early on, we might get beat, but by the end of the year, we're going to be up there with everybody. That worked for a while. But as NIL started creeping in, the transfer rules came in there, older, wiser teams leveled the playing field against Kentucky, and Calipari's system didn't work as well. And I think we're seeing that throughout all college sports. There is a strategy of having older, wiser people if you can connect them, right? Because they're all coming from different places, and it's becoming more normal now.
Before we get to Chad Withrow on the other side, the one thing we can all confidently say about Vanderbilt through 5 games is that the Commodores' 5-0 record is not a fluke. They are playing some dominant football. They are playing balanced football. They are playing physical football. And although the caliber of opponent through 5 games, well, I guess you could throw South Carolina in there. They were highly ranked when Vanderbilt played.
They were ranked 11th.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
So
Alabama's ranked 10th right now. South Carolina was ranked 11th at the time. For what that's worth.
yes, for what that is worth, I think we can all agree that Alabama is the most talented opponent that Vanderbilt has had so far this season.
Although South Carolina last year should have beaten Alabama at Alabama last year. South Carolina, we still have to see what they are by the end of the season. They may not be done, but they don't have the pedigree and the image of Alabama, or the expectation level, really.
So that's why I'm so intrigued by this matchup, is that Vanderbilt, if you look at the numbers across the board, offensively, defensively, they are up there in several key categories in the NCAA. So this is why this matchup is so fascinating to me, and why I'm kind of surprised that the line, which actually opened at 11.5, has moved back to 11.5. And we will get Chad Withrow's thoughts on this coming up next. Yours as well. 615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Tomorrow's college football game of the week is Clemson versus North Carolina at 11 a.m. on Sports Talk 830, presented by Twin Peaks Restaurants and Circus Sportsbook Kentucky. Coverage is also available on the Game Nashville app and at thegamenashville.com. D Mace, Vingan, and Donick 1025. The Game, Willie Donick, Derek Mason, M. Vingan here with you. We are indeed presented by Bax Homeworks. Remodeling done right. Get a free estimate at baxhomeworks.com. Let's go to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our friend Chad Withrow from Hot Mic with Hutton and Withrow on Outkick. So, Chad, before you came on, I was looking at the line on the Vanderbilt-Alabama game. It opened at 11.5, at least on ESPN Bet. I've seen it get down to 10.5. At one point, if I recall correctly, I saw it get down to 9.5. It is back up to 11.5. What do you make of that spread ahead of the game tomorrow?
So I think two things are true here. I think Vanderbilt is a legitimate playoff contender, and they legitimately have one of the best offenses in the country. I also saw them give up 35 points to Utah State last week, and I've seen the way Alabama and Ty Simpson have been playing on offense. So, look, I think that Bama's going to win pretty easily in this game. I've been saying it all week. I think that Vandy's going to score, and Bama's going to score more. It's going to be something like 52-35. I could see a lot of points scored in this game, but I do like Bama to cover. I don't think they blow them out, but I think they cover. I think it's 10.5 points right now. But that also doesn't do a lot to change my opinion of Vanderbilt in this game, just because, look, Vandy had the ball for 42 minutes and 8 seconds a year ago in that game, and they had a pick six, and they won by 5 points. It was a great win. It was a huge win. But I think that happening again, even though Vandy is better this year, I also think Alabama's better this year than they were a year ago at Alabama. I don't like the odds of that happening. So I think Bama wins pretty comfortably in this game, but Vandy's going to score some points on them because this offense is legitimately one of the best in the country.
Chad, you are a Vols fan, so I will ask you to represent Vols Nation right now. Who should Vols fans be rooting for tomorrow, Vanderbilt or Alabama?
Ooh, I mean, you know, it's one of those could both lose type situations, right? Like
Unfortunately, no.
I laugh all the time at people who root for the SEC that are SEC fans, and I'm thinking, no, I mean, I watch the SEC, and I wish everyone in the SEC would lose every week except for my team. Now,
I'm right there with you, man. I get that. I'm right there with you.
Fans need to evolve to that point. Like, you know, you want everybody that's a conference rival to lose if they can. I think Vol fans root for Vanderbilt in this one. I think any chaos surrounding Alabama is good. And if Vandy goes down there and wins, and Bama has 2 losses already, with Tennessee coming to town in a couple weeks, I think that would spawn some chaos for Alabama, and that's always fun when that happens. So, I mean, look, I don't think it's great for Tennessee for either one to win this game for the reasons that I just said. But if I'm picking, I mean, I'm going for Vanderbilt in this game, and I'm a Tennessee guy. So I think Tennessee fans would probably be smart to go ahead and root for Vanderbilt in this one and root for the chaos that it would inspire from Alabama fans and Alabama people everywhere if Vandy goes down there and wins and beats Bama 2 years in a row.
Now, Chad, Vandy's been playing well up front, and it's a what we saw of them last year and how they were developing to what they are now on their offensive line. It's total night and day. They were good last year. I think they're even better this year. We look at Alabama, you look at the players that they have and the talent that they have. Are you looking at the offensive line of Vanderbilt against Alabama's defensive line? Because I think that's ultimately where it's going to be won. I think it's been a big improvement for Alabama, for Vanderbilt the last 2 years, their offensive line. And for years, the defensive line of Alabama has always been a strength for them. I don't know how much it's a strength for them this year, but do you think that's where the game is going to be won?
Absolutely. And I think, D-Mace, that Vanderbilt's offensive line is a lot better and much improved. So at the risk of saying something that Butch Jones would always say, which I hate repeating, I think a lot of this has to do with eye discipline in this game, right? I mean, Vanderbilt's offense is a collection of jet sweeps, fake jet sweeps, quick screens. I mean, they're going to get your eyes moving in a lot of different directions. So Bama's going to have an advantage up front against Vanderbilt. It's all about staying disciplined, staying sound, staying in position, not getting fooled by the deception that Vandy's going to throw at you. And they're going to throw a lot at Alabama in this game. I think if they do that, then Alabama's going to have an advantage. But also keep this in mind. I was looking at a graphic with the oldest teams in the SEC. 40% of Vanderbilt's roster is either a senior or a graduate student. That's by far the oldest team in the SEC. Vanderbilt is elderly compared to everyone else in the SEC. This is how Vandy, you can replicate this. Vandy could become the Butler basketball of the SEC. You know, you get old, you stay old. Those mid-majors that climb to power in college basketball because they were the ones with fourth and fifth year seniors that had played together for a while. Vanderbilt's built in the transfer portal and guys who have stayed in the program, been developed by Clark Lee and stuck around. And it's amazing to see that difference. Alabama's right in the middle of the conference in terms of age, and I think they're 20% of their roster is either seniors or graduate students. Tennessee's the youngest team in the SEC. 50% of their roster are freshmen. So it's crazy to see the gap between those teams. That's how Vanderbilt wins games like this, right? That's how Vandy won a year ago. They've got a veteran quarterback who's seen it all and done it all. They've got a really old offensive line in front of them. I really think that Clark Lee is onto something here and how Vandy can stay relevant. And this just doesn't have to be a one-hit wonder with Diego Pavia. And if they're going to win the trenches in this one, D-Mace, that's going to have to show that veteran leadership of Vandy.
Do you think that's what a lot of people are sort of losing, sort of missing when it comes to this game? Not necessarily the talent, but the veteranness of this Vanderbilt roster compared to Alabama's roster.
Absolutely. I mean, fully grown men, right? I mean, you're seeing that across college football too. I mean, we're seeing it in Knoxville. Joey Aguilar is almost 25 years old. You know, there's a difference in the way he carries himself and the way he plays in pressure moments as opposed to even Nico, who was a great talent and a five-star player coming in. So absolutely. I think, you know, and everybody's different. Like, I don't know that there's just one way that you're going to guarantee success. You know, you can't. Mississippi State brought in 32 transfers this offseason. It looks like it's working, right? They're a lot better. They didn't win a single conference game a year ago. They look a lot better. They got off to the 4-0 start. They had a chance to beat Tennessee at home. That worked for them. Who's to say that if they bring in 32 more transfers next year, 25 of them don't work out and they're right back to being in the basement of the SEC again? So I think it's a mix of both in recruiting with high school players and transfers, but how you divide that pie and how you look at that ratio is going to be different for every program. I think for Vanderbilt, it is a lot about getting grad transfers in, getting older players that want to finish their career in the SEC, that want to get a degree from Vanderbilt or a graduate degree from Vanderbilt, as we're seeing with a lot of these guys. I think that's a really smart way to go for them. But again, everybody's different. You know, I mentioned Tennessee being the youngest in the conference, even though they've got the grad transfer quarterback. You know, Tennessee's going to continue to recruit high school players at a high level and hope those guys stick around, and you're going to sprinkle in some transfers of need here and there. There's no one way to do it. I think it's up to every individual program to figure out what works best for them. But I'm here to tell you, I think Clark Lee has figured out what's going to work best for Vanderbilt football now and in the future.
Chad Withrow is with us. I think it's really interesting. That chart fascinated me. I did not realize how young the Tennessee roster was, Chad. And how would it compare to last year and the year before? Like, I'm thinking of Hendon Hooker. He was in that 24-25 range. I know their offensive line. I was looking at, I remember several times last year saying to myself, Tennessee's got some linemen that are older than J.C. Latham and Peter Skoronski, right? Because that was a fact, right? But that is a strategy, especially when the COVID thing was adding years to people's careers. I think that's going to be affected going forward a little bit. But what do you think of the makeup of Tennessee's roster right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good. And also, I mean, I should point out, like, yeah, you know, mathematically with the full roster, they're very young. They, 50%, as I mentioned, are freshmen. But a lot of the guys who are playing are old. I mean, like, look at the offensive line. Lance Hurd at left tackle. Well, he's going to be draft eligible after this year. He's likely to be gone. You've got Wendell Moy Jr. at another one. He's going to be gone. Kind of a grad transfer, older guy, transferred in from Arizona. Sam Pendleton, he's got 3 years in the program. I think he was a redshirt freshman a year ago that got some playing time at Notre Dame. He transfers into Tennessee. He's going to have some time there. Jesse Perry's a redshirt freshman from right down the road at Middle Tennessee Christian in Murfreesboro. He's going to be around for a while. Then you got David Sanders, who's a first-round draft pick. mean, he was the number one player in the country, and he's a future first-round draft pick. He's 18 years old, and he got his first playing time because of a Perry injury against Mississippi State. He's going to be around for a while. But, Willie, when you look all over the place, I mean, Tennessee is playing a true freshman at corner because Ricky Gibson went down and Jermod McCoy's not there. But then you got Colton Hood, who's playing great. He's a grad transfer from Colorado. He's going to go pro after this year. Chris Brazel might be the first receiver taken in the draft with the season he's having. He's going to be gone after this year. Arion Carter from Smyrna High School. He's draft eligible after this year. He's a junior, but he's likely to go pro. So I say all that to say that there's no secret to the formula of how you're really successful. Play your guys that have experience and are talented. And Tennessee is still doing that, even though the roster shows so many freshmen. They've got some freshmen spot playing here and there. But ultimately, the guys who are playing the majority of the snaps, they're juniors, seniors, or graduate players, much like Vanderbilt or any other team.
Chad, we just had a pretty interesting conversation about, it was a good question by Adam about the perception of Vanderbilt. There's a local perception. To me, there's an SEC perception, and then there's a national perception. And I don't know if you would disagree with this, Chad. This is the biggest spotlight game that I've ever seen them play in, and maybe the biggest spotlight game that they've ever played in with the exposure they're going to have. So I'm curious how many people in, say, Michigan or Massachusetts or Nevada know about Diego Pavia or know about anything about the program. I'm curious about that because it's an opportunity for them.
Yeah, I get that it's Alabama, Georgia, but I was blown away that Alabama, Georgia had so many more viewers than Penn State, Oregon on Saturday night, considering both Penn State and Oregon were top 10 teams. And I think it was like 3 or 4 million more viewers for Alabama, Georgia. That's a good sign for Vandy this week. I think it's going to have massive ratings. It's not going to reach Alabama, Georgia levels, but there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on Vandy that's normally not there. And here would be my question. Take the scandal aside and all that and how it ended. Vandy can be Baylor under Art Briles, where they were perennially, top 15, top 20 team that could contend. They produced a Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, think about this, Willie. If Vandy wins on Saturday, there is not a doubt in my mind that Diego Pavia is the betting favorite to win the Heisman Trophy come Sunday morning. Vanderbilt could get a Heisman Trophy winner before the University of Tennessee. Let that sink in for a second. With the history of both those programs, Vanderbilt could produce the first Heisman Trophy winner in this state. That's what's on the line on Saturday. If Vandy wins that game at Alabama, I'm not saying he's won it, but he's the front runner at that point. I don't think there's any doubt about it because no one has emerged from the field. The guys who were the front runners coming into the season have not performed well. It's really there for Diego Pavia to take. So what does this mean for Vandy? It means a lot. And I think it's a chance to stay relevant. It's cute right now. They're America's sweetheart, much like Virginia winning against Florida State and storming the field. But a win over Alabama on the road where everyone's watching and you're on ABC at 2:30, I mean, it's going to do so much for that program. For everyone involved, it's going to be a game changer.
Chad Withrow from Hot Mic with Hutton and Withrow has been our guest on D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick. He joins us every Friday at 4:20. Trad, great stuff as always, my friend. We'll catch up next week.
Yeah, not Johnny Majors, not Peyton Manning, none of the Tennessee greats. Just think about that for a little bit, guys. Diego Pavia, the first Heisman Trophy winner in the state of Tennessee. It could happen. If he has a big day, I'm telling you, and they beat Bama, it could happen. So let that sink in for a moment, and you guys have a great weekend.
You as well. We will let that sink in for a moment. 615-737-1025. We will take your reaction coming up next to what Chad had to say about Vanderbilt versus Alabama. We'll also take your reaction on the Tennessee Titans as they prepare to take on the Arizona Cardinals. A reminder that Ask D-Mace is coming up at 5 o'clock. So if you have a question for Derek, you can text us now. Call us at 5 o'clock, 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game. D. Mace, Vingan, and Donick, 1025 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. Always a pleasure to chat with Chad Withrow every Friday at 4:20.
Always a
Chad-
pleasure, too, to listen to the Axel F theme.
Yes.
This is bringing back memories. Sergeant Taggart
Doom, doom, doom.
and Billy Rosewood.
Hey,
Alongside.
Taggart.
The Super Cop story was working.
It was.
You guys just bleeped up a perfectly good lie.
See,
Oh, man.
sometimes I surprise Willie and Derek by some of the older references that I'm aware of. I have no idea what the two of you are talking
I'm
about.
just
man.
simply
You've
over
never
here
seen
just
Beverly Hills
Beverly Hills
Cop?
Cop?
No, the first one?
I don't think I've ever seen Beverly Hills
Wow.
Cop.
Put it on your list.
Yeah,
Put it on
put it
your
on your
list.
list to watch. 1 and 2. 3 was
3, no. Don't.
You didn't like the last one?
No.
It was
terrible.
okay.
It was
okay.
terrible.
Because
It was
Rosewood
awful.
and it was in it,
It was awful.
but they were in it. That's why I
One
liked
and
it.
2, absolutely. 2 is one of it, as far as sequels go.
Uh-huh.
2 was very good,
Yes.
high level for
Yes.
not as good as the first one, but still worthy.
Watch it.
3, no.
I kind of
It's like Godfather 3. Don't even. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist.
What are we talking about? I don't know about a third.
Oh, man.
There you go. There you go, David.
So Chad said he predicts Alabama to win comfortably against Vanderbilt on Saturday, which I think goes against the grain. I think a lot of people are expecting a tighter matchup. Chad seems confident that Alabama is just going to be able to outscore Vanderbilt. What are your thoughts on that?
Before I think a lot of people look at the Georgia game and they're thinking they look at it and say, okay, that was going to tell whether Alabama was back or not. The Georgia game. If they win, great, they're back. If they lose, then maybe they're slipping further and further behind. And Georgia is the top dog in the SEC. But they win, and now all of a sudden, it's in everybody's mind. I think it's Alabama's back now, and Vanderbilt has no chance, regardless of what they did, what they have done thus far in this season. Because I do believe playing Virginia Tech early in the season in Blacksburg, playing South Carolina, the 11th ranked South Carolina at the time, and winning the game in the fashion that they did. But I think still people are making it more about Alabama than it is about Vandy. It's like Vandy, yeah, they're doing good story, but Alabama's back. They beat Georgia. And boy, oh boy, anybody after the Georgia game, they might as well forget it. That's why it's like, I don't understand if you're looking at both teams, and I understand the win last week for Alabama was a big win. But just like you say, well, Alabama gave the game to Vandy last year, Georgia gave the game to Alabama last week. They had opportunities to win. That game shouldn't have ended the way it ended, because Georgia, to me, was the better team. But they just made too many mistakes. But I think now, because of that win, it's Alabama's back. They're going to beat up on Vandy, and we're going to move on. That's what people are thinking now. Had they lost against Georgia, I think it would have been a different story. But now it's just like Alabama's back. Oh, they playing Vandy? Yeah, Vandy's a good story, but they're going to beat Vandy too.
I don't think Chad's prediction is out of the ordinary at all. I think this is why the line is 11.5. I think the perception is that despite Vanderbilt's inroads, that Alabama won't be surprised this year. They'll be ready to play. They're playing down there, and that they are a lot better than Vanderbilt. That's the perception, I think. Otherwise, the line would be for a team that's 5-0 and as dominant, as you mentioned, statistically, as Vanderbilt is, it wouldn't be 11.5. That wouldn't be the perception. But and this is despite Vanderbilt going on the road to Virginia Tech and South Carolina and dominating both of those teams. It still hasn't changed the perception. That's why I keep going to my biggest thing that I'm looking for is the curiosity of seeing just how much better is Vanderbilt on the road in this hostile environment against a team that is frothing for revenge? You know, all week long they've been talking about Diego Pavia and how they're gonna set him straight. They're gonna restore order. All of these things. This is being talked about. They have Alabama's attention, which for years and years, when Vanderbilt would play a close game against an Alabama or a Georgia, whoever the big dogs were. I did a game when I was a sideline announcer where Vanderbilt played at home against Danny Warfel and the eventual national champion Gators, Florida Gators. Loaded team, won the whole thing. Vanderbilt was down 7. They lost 28-21. They played way over their heads. But the perception then, and it was an accurate one, was that was kind of a fluky thing where Vanderbilt caught the other team by surprise. That will not be the case here. So what does it look like in the trenches, up front, mano a mano? Can Vanderbilt look like the team that they've looked like so far this year? That's what regardless of what the final score ends up being, what does it look like talent-wise? We know in a particular game, a team could turn the ball over 3 times or just play bad, have dumb penalties, and the score gets out of control. But at the end of the game going, you know what? Toe-to-toe, there wasn't that big of a gap. That's what I want to see. What is the gap?
I want to sneak in a couple Predators notes here before we get to Ask D-Mace. And if you have a question for Derek, you can text us now at 615-737-1025. First come, first serve. You can also call at the end of the segment if you have a question for Derek, as Ask D-Mace starts at 5 o'clock. The Predators continued to trim their training camp roster, made 2 interesting moves today. They assigned Tanner Molendyk and Zachary LaRue to the American Hockey League. Zachary LaRue, who spent a lot of time in Nashville last season, will, for now, start the season in the American League, as will Tanner Molendyk. The Luke Evangelista thing keeps picking up steam. It's become a national NHL story. A lot of people who don't normally provide comments on the Predators are providing comments on the Predators because Luke Evangelista is still without a contract. Willie, you and I broke this down quite a bit on Preds Insiders on Wednesday. And if you missed that, you can find that wherever you listen to your podcast. But
yeah, I would really encourage people to do that. I think you and I, Adam, not to pat ourselves on the back, but
I'm always good for a self-patting on the back.
Right, but we did our homework. We presented both sides. There's a lot of information. Don't just look at the tweets and somebody's take or somebody's perception. And even I'm talking about some of the national people that how often have they really even watched Luke Evangelista play? Right? It's easy for an agent, and there's no question that the agent for Luke Evangelista is sending up the smoke signals and trying to create pressure to get this done. And that's what a good agent should do, right? Right, Derek? I'm not begrudging him for doing that. Barry Trotz has decided not to say anything publicly, really, other than we love Luke, we want to sign him. But Barry Trotz is being made out to be the bad guy here. And it has definitely become a story. There's no question about it.
My gut. Now, I'm not around the team every day as I once was. And we've talked about this in the past. When you are around a team every day, you pick up certain vibes. Even if you aren't being told something explicitly, you just get a sense of what's going on. So I understand that my Predators gut is not as big, I guess you could say, gutty as it once was.
Have you lost weight
since then? Since
lost
I
your
started,
gut? Lost a little bit of your gut?
Yeah. I've got dad bod. Let's just be honest. I've got dad bod, but that's okay because I am a dad.
Rocket, man.
I'm wondering if a trade request could be incoming. I am wondering if this is going to reach a point where Luke Evangelista, through his representation, requests a trade from the Nashville Predators. Now, Willie, as I told you this before the show, you said the Predators are under no obligation to trade Luke Evangelista, and you would be right about that. He's got no leverage. He's a restricted free agent. If he is unsigned by December 1st, he can't play this season. But for whatever reason, the two sides can't come to terms. And I'm wondering, as we are less than a week away from the Predators season opener, if Luke Evangelista may be on his way out. Just my gut.
We'll see what the next couple days have in store. But there's no question that it doesn't seem like it's getting anywhere fast right now. Although one phone call can change everything. So we'll see how that goes. But I agree. You can request the trade. It doesn't mean like that they're going to trade him. I don't think they have any intention of trading him. They're certainly not going to give him away. They want him as a part of the team. They've offered him a 2-year deal. It's not like they haven't offered him a chance to be a part of the team going forward. It'd be one thing if they're offering him a lowball 1-year deal. 2 years, that means you're in the plans. Otherwise, you would never offer a 2-year deal. So they don't want to trade him. They want to put him in the right slot. And again, I would go to Preds Insiders and listen to your and I's discussion on a lot of the details of this, the comparables and all of the factors at play. I think you'll enjoy it. Just go to Preds Insiders. I do think we should hit the LaRue part of this, though.
Quickly, yes.
Because Zach LaRue, I think, is going to be lumped in here. So there's another young player that they're giving up on. Remember this. Zach LaRue got hurt and got way behind in the training camp. And he has not played well. I think this is simply a go to Milwaukee and just get your legs, get your game. He will be up playing with the Predators as soon as he does that. Now, if he goes down to Milwaukee and really struggles, that's a different thing. Or if other guys play well, that could be different. But if you look, Zach LaRue has not been super effective. There was a game that he was in the last time they played a exhibition game. He took a bad penalty at a bad time. And that's just one example. But it was his overall game has not rounded into form. If you've watched him play, he just hasn't been himself yet. He hasn't taken a step forward. So it's taken a step back to take, hopefully, the 2 steps forward. But the injury certainly put him behind the 8 ball.
615-737-1025. It is time for Ask D-Mace. So if you have questions for Derek Mason, call us, text us right now, 615-737-1025. Mostly, nothing is off limits. Derek is game for these sorts of things. If you have a question that you've always wanted to ask Derek Mason, call us or text us, 615-737-1025. Willie Dunnick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game.
He played 15 years in the NFL.
Quick throw. Touchdown, Derek Mason.
He had over 12,000 receiving yards.
And there he goes. 80 yards for the touchdown.
And now you can ask him anything. Have a question about football or life? Now's your time to ask D-Mace.
We'll welcome you in.
Now, D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It is time for Ask D-Mace on D-Mace. Fingan and Donick, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Willie Donick, Adam Bingen, and of course, Derek Mason here with you because it is time for Ask D-Mace. If you have a question for Derek, call us, text us right now, 615-737-1025.
Come on, peeps.
Nothing, mostly nothing is off
Everything.
limits.
Nothing. Whatever you want to ask me, ask it.
All right. I have one to get it started. I want the juices. I'll try to get the creative juices flowing from our listeners. Yep. 615-737-1025.
We got some callers. Okay.
I had somebody ask me this today. They heard our discussion during the it sort of happened organically, the underdog picks. We were talking about in college, you played against a really powerful eventual national champion Nebraska team that had Lawrence Phillips. I'm curious, who do you think was the best college team or college player that you played against back then?
The best college,
because like
team.
that
it
Nebraska
probably
team
was that
won back-to-back.
93. It probably was that 93 Nebraska team, because they had,
you called them the corn-fed brothers.
Yeah, them brothers, corn-fed brothers. I mean, it's just like,
Willie, it's important to note that it's the corn-fed brothers, not brother.
And I don't mean, like, when I say brothers, I don't mean ethnicity or race or nothing. I'm just saying all of them, like brothers. Black, white, it don't matter. They were all corn-fed and much bigger than all of us. Okay, there was some big boys. But no, that may have been, no, I'm not going to even say may. That was the best team because that was a championship winning team in 93. Lawrence Phillips was a freshman. They had Tommy Frazier as their quarterback. Who was the other running back? God, he ended up playing in the NFL for a while too. Well, hell, that whole team. They had the defense. Half of those guys played in they were called the Black Shirts.
The guy that played for Green Bay for
Calvin Jones.
Yeah, Amon Green.
Amon Green.
Green was there.
Calvin Jones, is that who you're referring to? The running back?
Was it Calvin Jones? It might have been.
I was thinking about Amon Green.
Was it Amon Green there in 93, 94, 95?
I feel like that was they eventually did suspend Lawrence Phillips, and then they had Amon Green ready to jump in there. Like that team was so deep, for sure. But what were other great individual players that you ran up against? You're like, who is that guy?
Man, gosh, let me see. Woodson. But he was still good as a freshman. He was damn good as a freshman. We played LSU.
I know you're kind of reluctant to say
what
school he played for.
Yeah, I don't want to say that. I played against
Charles Woodson, Heisman Trophy, Michigan.
Ty Law, he was damn good. That was my freshman year. It was so many guys. Illinois had some guys that ended up playing in the NFL that were really good, really on the defensive end. They did have a running back that was damn good too. Was it Indiana or Illinois? It might have been Illinois. But yeah, that Nebraska 93 team was the best team that I played in college, all 4 years of college.
Let's go to Tim on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHoney.com. Tim, thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
Good evening, guys. Enjoy the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
D-Mace.
Yes.
I want you're taking the number one receiver's job on the Titans this year. You're the starter. You're the guy to go to. What is your head? How in your head do you get up to play a game knowing that all the fans are wanting to get rid of the coach? Coach is doing a lousy job. He don't know the rule book. Can't call plays. And how do you get motivated to go out and play every week knowing all this is happening?
Thank you for the call, Tim.
Thank you for the call, Tim. I mean, I do understand, what you're saying, but when you're in that situation, you want to win, and you want your fans to be out there. You don't want anyone to be calling for your coach's head or your coach to be fired. But you got a job to do, and regardless if they fire a coach or not, the next coach coming in, you got to have something on film that's worth watching. You don't want to be a dud along with the other duds that are going on with the team, because when the team's that bad, you got a lot of duds on there. You want to be a guy that pops out in a good way on the screen for that next coach when they come in here. So, and then you just got to be a professional. A lot of teams don't, you're not losing because guys don't want to win. You're not losing because your head coach is, he's on a hot seat. You're losing because you're not doing the things necessary to go out there. You're not executing the way you want to. You're not losing for the lack of, we don't want to win, or, the fans are not, with us. That's not why you're losing. You're losing because you're not executing on the field. So you want to try to get that losing scent out of the locker room really soon. So you try to go in there, preparing to win a game each and every week.
Now, here's how you know that the Titans aren't as down bad as you think. This just popped into my timeline from Bleacher Report. Bear with me here, guys. Meow Mix, a popular Panthers podcast, Carolina Panthers podcast, that started in 2019, is shutting down indefinitely due to the team's poor performance. The podcast announced they can no longer justify the time spent away from their wives and children on Sundays. So as far as I know, no Titans fans podcasts have shut down because of the Titans' poor performance. So at least y'all have that going for you.
Well, okay. No podcasts are shut down. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
To my knowledge, no podcasts have been shut down.
Okay. Well, I guess if you're that bad and they're shut down podcasts.
Here's part of the statement from Meow Mix, the now shuttered Carolina Panthers podcast.
Meow Mix.
And now tell me, Titans fans, if this sounds familiar to you. Quote, we would be watching the games regardless, but locking ourselves away for 6 to 7 hours on a Sunday just to watch and then discuss a 42-13 ass whipping has become more of a chore than anything else. We don't feel it's right to keep the podcast going unless we can continue to put out weekly episodes. And right now, neither of us wants to spend that amount of time talking about this organization.
Did they have a listenership? Like,
I don't know. The amount of time on
they
Sundays.
Had no sponsors did they have to give money back to sponsors or something? Like, or was it just, are they just trying to get attention?
The amount of time on Sundays that we spend away from our wives and young children has become difficult to justify. And I think Titans fans can all relate to that. No?
Yeah.
But you know
I'll
what?
ask the question. Is that the case? I still watch them, but I do wonder how bad it would have to get before it got to apathy. Like, you want passion. I feel like we have upset Titans fans calling, texting.
Yes.
That's better than not caring.
Pour one out for Meow Mix.
Yeah, there you go. You know what?
A moment of silence for Meow Mix.
You know what? I don't.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, there we go.
Do I really care? No.
It was 1990. I don't know why.
A tree falling in the woods. A podcast goes down.
Yes.
Sorry.
We did get beat, but it was 1995 when we got our back speed in by Nebraska. You want to know what the score was?
Sure.
September 9th, 1995 at approximately 12 o'clock Central Time. No, 1 o'clock Central Time. We got our back speed in 50-10. Yeah, 50-10.
How'd you do?
Right. I don't know. That was my.
Your
I had
stats
a broken hand this game.
Okay.
This the game I had a broken hand. I think so. Yeah.
Matthew in
No, it
Nashville.
wasn't.
Okay.
The game, my senior year, I had a broken hand. This game, I didn't.
Okay. Did you play?
Yeah, I played.
And?
I'm trying to see.
Okay.
Read.
Well,
I'm
while
gonna come
you're
back to
looking
you.
for that,
Read.
Well,
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that.
Excuse me,
Whoa,
Mr.
dude.
Bossy.
Let's relax here a minute.
He's
Come
having
on.
a bad.
Oh,
memory.
no. I'm sorry. Let me apologize. That was a little harsh. I am sorry, Adam. I didn't mean to sound so harsh.
He's reliving
That
a
must be
nightmare.
really bad.
50 to 10.
Exactly.
Now I know how the Meow Mix guys feel.
Oh man.
Matthew in Nashville says, we've had a coach fired 3 weeks in a row in college football. Who becomes the next one this weekend? Is it Billy Napier or someone else?
Ooh.
Florida is playing Texas, if I am not mistaken, this weekend.
Yes, down in Gainesville. So that's interesting because it was around this time last year that the Gators started playing better, and he was able to escape the hot seat for the time being.
I had 5 for 55.
Okay.
Muhammad Muhammad had 4 for 85 and a touchdown.
Not bad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't good either.
That's not good enough.
Exactly. Definitely not good enough. Hold on, okay, let me see.
I mean,
Lawrence Phillips rushed for 206 yards, averaged 9 yards a carry, and had 4 touchdowns. Wow. Yeah, we did get beat. Our heads beat in. Gosh.
I mean, Gators fans have been looking for an excuse to fire Billy Napier for a long time. If Texas goes to Florida and wins, and by the way, Texas is a 5.5-point favorite on the road at Florida. Florida will drop to 1-4 overall, 0-2 in the SEC.
But that's not even the biggest story of the game. The story will be, has Arch Manning figured some stuff out? Can he start looking like anything close to what the hype was about? Right, because he hasn't really done anything yet.
Derek's got something for us.
The next year, the very next year, September 7th, 1996, we went to Lincoln, Nebraska against number 1 Nebraska. And the score was, we got better. This is a good score. 55-14. We have 4 more points than we did last year. Well, we did. We got better, right?
Yeah, it's improvement. It's improvement.
4
points better.
And
Yeah.
they had 5 more points. So there you go.
Al in Mount Pleasant has a dad joke for you, D-Mace.
Hit me with it.
Why can't you hear a pterodactyl going to the bathroom?
Pterodactyl going to the bathroom. I can't fit in there.
Because the P is silent.
I like that. It was so obvious, but I like it. That was a good one. I like that one.
Willie is unimpressed.
Willie, you weren't impressed with that one?
I'm picturing a pterodactyl going into a bathroom at an airport or something.
But that's why I said, I mean, he couldn't fit in. I don't know.
And you're just like, why is that pterodactyl going to the bathroom right now?
I couldn't get past that.
Yeah, me either.
So I want to ask you guys a question. Well, Derek, and then Willie can chime in because it's not Ask D-Mace and Willie. It's Ask D-Mace. I heard Robbie and Joe bring up something interesting this morning. They recalled what the Athletics NFL draft analyst Dane Brugler said about Cam Ward in
The Beast,
which is Dane Brugler's hefty NFL draft guide. In that draft guide, at the end of his analysis of Cam Ward, Dane Brugler wrote, quote, with his talent and intangibles, he projects as an NFL starter in the mold of a taller, slower version of Kyler Murray, who happens to be playing Cam Ward this weekend against the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, what is your take on that? Because we mentioned this yesterday. These are the 2 teams that run the most shotgun of anybody. But I hadn't thought about that in a long time. I am not at all reminded of Kyler Murray when I watch Cam Ward.
No,
Kyler Murray is one of a kind, really, and he runs so uniquely. Cam Ward is really not a runner.
Kyler Murray reminds me of no one, and no one reminds me of Kyler Murray. It's just when I look at Kyler Murray, I don't see any other quarterback. Like, he may be, he reminds me of this guy. No, he doesn't remind me of anybody, honestly, at least not in the NFL. So Cam Ward damn sure don't remind me of Kyler Murray. So I don't know where they got that one from. Now if they're talking about, being in a shotgun all the time, well, I guess he does remind you of Kyler Murray because beside the Titans, I think Arizona, didn't you say that, Willie? Arizona is the only team that has taken more snaps
from the shotgun.
Trying to shotgun than the Titans.
The Titans take 79% of their snaps from the shotgun, and Arizona is the only team that has more. I don't know how much more.
Yeah, so that's the reminder right there.
It's interesting looking back at Dane Brugler's draft analysis of Cam Ward, comparing it to what we've seen so far with Tennessee. Here's part of it. Quote, with his quick load and fire, Ward is a perfect fit for the RPO game and quick drops. He is elusive in the pocket and has an innate feel for casually operating around pressure to buy extra time, although he needs to find a happier medium between his nonchalant style and playing with the urgency required. He reads well in structure and throws with anticipation, but each game tape includes examples of questionable, forced decisions with negative results. Overall, Ward must button up his drifting footwork and cut down on the reckless habits, but he is a loose, instinctive passer who can rip accurate strikes with a natural rhythm to his play. So it's interesting to look back on that now that we've seen Cam Ward in the NFL for 4 games. Does that sound accurate?
I think it's hard to evaluate anything Cam has done to some degree just because of the chaos around him.
I mean, you could pull out some things, I'm sure, and say, well, that does sort of fit what we have seen from Cam in these 4 games. But like Willie said, it's because of the situation, it's hard to, look at him and give an evaluation, like a true evaluation. If you want to give him an evaluation based on, the circumstance he in, okay. But if you're saying, okay, if we were to put him in an ideal situation, let's just say a good team, not a team like this, I think you would better be able to, or maybe even a more veteran head coach and play caller, maybe you can evaluate him a little bit different than what he's being evaluated now.
615-737-1025. We will continue Ask D-Mace coming up next. If you have a question, a dad joke, anything for Derek Mason, call us, text us, 615-737-1025. We will get back to that next. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan. We are proudly presented by Bax Homeworks, which transforms kitchens, bathrooms, and living spaces into places you can't wait to come home to. Get a free estimate at baxhomeworks.com. D Mace, Vingid, and Donick, 1025 the game. I guess we're trying to put you in the mood on a Friday afternoon.
Yes.
There we go.
Okay.
I think it can go right along with what we're gonna sort of discuss.
Adam, there is a texter
Yes.
that has a good question that would, I don't know. I think that song would have the same mood as what
Yes.
Derek's answer is going to be.
Yes, one texter on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHunted.com. And if you want to ask a question for Derek, call us or text us 615-737-1025. Derek, do you have any TV show recommendations? I have run out of things to watch.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Sit
What
back.
is
people.
D Mace watching? These
Sit
days?
back, people.
Okay.
Do we need to get the vibe again with the song?
Yeah, put it on.
Yeah, let's. I like that song. That's a good song.
I like it.
Yeah.
Turn it down just a little bit.
Yeah,
There we
just set in the background.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just need to
Mood.
hear. Yeah, just set the mood, man. Because the lights are kind of what they are. But let's set the mood. So, new shows that I am watching. You would love to know, huh, people?
Dr. Love is about to.
Well, one, Derek Mason. This is what I watch now. One, I watch Love is Blind. Yes, I said it. Love is Blind. Season 9, which is
Season
terrific.
9.
Yes. McCall and I.
Season 9?
Listen, season 9, season 8, season 7, season 6. I've watched them all. Okay. I love it. McCall and I, we watch them. We talk about it. It's one of my favorite. I can't, like, the new season just came on what's today? Friday. The new season came on Wednesday. Guess where I was? In front of the television watching it. Why? I watched 3 episodes Wednesday night. Well, we watched 3 episodes Wednesday night. So I'm like, Love is Blind. When it's on, nothing else matters. I'm watching it. When my daughter here, I get her to watch it with me. So that's one of them. So if you are in the mood, with your girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, significant other, whatever.
Did you just say you watch it with your daughter?
Yeah, I watch it with my daughter.
Kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, Love is Blind. I mean, it's because it's not like something I will be telling, even at my daughter's 27. Even at 27, I'm like, don't watch this. No, it's just relationship stuff. They don't do anything that you can't show, even on regular television. So we watch that. Her and I are movie people. Like, that's one thing that my daughter and I, we're movie people. So I watch Love is Blind. And then also I watch, which and Evie knows about, Love Island. Love it.
It's about love.
Love it. So the difference is because Willie didn't know the difference.
I haven't watched either show.
Yeah, he hasn't watched.
My daughter
need to
and
watch
her crew, they watch Love Island.
Love it.
I even walked in on them watching the show, and they were like, and Evie was like, Dad, could you leave? I was like, what? We're kind of watching the show right now.
Yeah, she made you leave, man. Well, Willie, you need to go catch up on it.
Okay.
And then let her know you're interested and y'all can watch it.
Okay, I might have to.
But the difference is Love Island, everyone goes to this island. It's, however many guys and however many girls that you're trying to form a relationship. And then within the relationships, there are games you got to play that puts people off the island and all this stuff. Well, yeah, Love Island. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, put people, and you got to get a rose to pick your person. It's just a whole bunch of stuff, but it's good. And then Love is Blind is you and I are sitting in a room, her and I, you and somebody else, whatever, are sitting in a room, but there's a partition.
Yes, you can't see
between y'all. So it's like David's on that other side. You see the glass, there's no glass. And then his girl would be on my side and they would be talking. So they never see each other. But for some strange reason, in a matter of 10 days, because that's what it is in the pods, they fall in love. Like literally, there are people on there crying saying, I love you. I love you so much. And I'm thinking, it's only been 6 days because the full 10 days hadn't even got there.
Remember, Love is Blind.
Love is Blind, but I can't tell because I know there are some people that probably hadn't watched season 9 yet. So I can't say anything that's going on with season 9 just yet, but I want to tell you that it's good. Love is Blind. It's good.
So full endorsement.
Yes.
That
Full
texter
endorsement.
now has material for the whole weekend.
Whole weekend. Matter of fact, you probably got material for the next 3 months because if you want to
9
start
seasons.
you want to start at season 1. Now, I will warn you, season 1's a little cheesy because they have enough money. At first, they wasn't putting money toward it, so it ain't all that. But as the season goes, more people watch. What happens? They put more money into the project.
Joey from Bellevue, who was mean to me earlier, says, Derek, my son and I are pumped for the Golden Bachelor. Is your son Chris Sanders?
See, I haven't watched I tried to watch the Golden Bachelor. I couldn't get into it. And they have so many. They have Love is Blind France, Love is Blind Brazil.
Okay.
They have so many, and I watch them. No, and I watch them all.
Oh no, you
watch.
don't.
Yes, I do.
No,
I was just watching the other day. I was just watching because the new one, Love is Blind, came on. So I started watching Love is Blind France, and you gotta, they do the voiceover, the U.S. voiceover, English voiceover, and the weird part about that is the voice doesn't match any one of the contestants. None of the voices match the contestants, and that throws you off. So I'm watching it all, man.
My recommendation, if you are in the loving mood, is to go back and watch all of the trashy VH1 dating shows that I used to watch when I was younger, including Flavor of Love and Rock of Love and Rock of Love Bus and I Love New York. Those were the best shows.
You know, there's another one going.
What's that?
$1 Million Secret.
What
That's
the heck is
another
that?
good one. It's what happens is it's these like 8 people. It's probably more than that. They go into this house, and each round, one of the contestants are given $1 million in their box. Like every round, they got to go into their room, and everybody's given a box with a key. And only one person has the $1 million, but you got to figure out which person has the $1 million. But then within that, they give you these things you have to do to be awarded like points or extra votes within the whole thing. So that's another one, because you're systematically trying to find out who's the $1 million, who has the $1 million. But then you may know who has the $1 million, but you may not want to vote them off because they may not be the strongest contestant. You might want to vote out somebody else. See, I'm giving y'all all the background here. That's another story. I mean, another show you should watch. $1 Million Secret on Netflix.
Okay, I'm just throwing mine down. Task is the best show going right now. It's on HBO.
I haven't seen that.
It comes out once every Sunday. I like the slow build up. You can't binge watch it. You have to process each episode, and you got to wait a whole week till the next episode.
I ain't trying to know. I
love it.
I ain't trying.
It's really good.
Loot on Netflix. That's good. It's a comedy. Wife marries. This family. They get married young, and how it is that the husband, he makes the wife stays home, raise everybody, the kids and everything. The husband, he's making the money, and then obviously something happens, and then they get a divorce, and the lady becomes an instant billionaire. She has $72 billion. It's a comedy, and what she does with it after that, it becomes funny.
Most of the shows I watch these days are shows that my son watches. So I've been watching a lot of Bluey.
I don't know who that is.
Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
He's too old for Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Okay, sorry.
SpongeBob, you still let him watch SpongeBob?
He hasn't really watched SpongeBob.
Come on, man, you gotta get him into that.
He's more of a Disney guy, I think.
Okay.
The problem is a lot of the cartoons that I loved as a child are probably inappropriate for him. Like if you are of a certain age and you watch Nickelodeon in the mid to late 90s with Rocko's Modern Life and Ren and Stimpy and shows like that, which were definitely not appropriate for children, but my parents had no idea, so I watched all of it. But he'll get there one day.
Here's another one. Now, this one is really good, Willie. You should watch it, Adam. You should watch it. You're in the missus.
Sure.
Black Rabbit. It's with Bateman in it.
Jason Bateman. I am not a Jason Bateman fan.
But this,
what
did you like Ozark? Did y'all like Ozark?
I love Ozark.
It reminds me.
I don't know why. I do not care for Jason Bateman. I don't. Anything he's in, I do not care for it.
So you didn't watch Ozark?
No, I did not watch Ozark.
Wow,
man.
My goodness.
I just do not care for Jason.
Oh man.
Like Jason Bateman he's on State Farm commercials now. It's like, you thought you were calling Batman,
right?
Bateman,
right.
And I'm just like, oh my god, this is like, ugh.
He is, I think, at this point, a little overexposed, and I do think he kind of plays the same guy.
Yeah, he plays the same character. Yeah.
That's what's different about Ozark. Ozark is so different It's not a comedy.
But the personality is still the same.
Yes.
Yeah. But
really
Black
good at that.
Rabbit has that Ozark sort of feel storyline. It is not set
Is it as dark as Ozark?
Yes.
Okay.
It's
I'm
good.
intrigued.
It's really good.
I like dark.
It's really good. I started watching it. It's about two brothers, and they're one brother is he's a gambling addict, and the other brother has taken the family business, and he's doing his best to try to keep it going. And as you all know, the brother he has a problem with gambling. What happens? He gets himself into some trouble. Then he has to go to the big brother and the little brother at this point. And this is where all this stuff transpires. But it's a good movie. It's good. So that's another one you need to put on your list.
People feverishly writing all these shows down.
Hey, I'm
or
telling
putting
you.
it in their phone.
You need
D-Mace
to.
recommends.
These some good shows too.
Josh from White House says, okay, kick Adam out of DVD. Doesn't like Jason Bateman. Get this man drug tested. Caleb says, you don't like horrible bosses, Adam? Like the combination of Jason Bateman and who's the other guy? Not Jason Sudeikis. Who's the other guy? Charlie Day. Is that his name?
Yes, Charlie Day. Yep.
The two, Bateman and Day together.
You don't like it?
We were talking about nail scrapers earlier. The opposite of a nail biter is a nail scraper.
I can get that.
The two of them together. Ugh,
I thought Horrible Bosses
thank you.
was so funny.
Oh, it was so good.
No,
to me.
thank
I
you.
liked
I thought it was so funny.
But then you have to be reminded about Kevin Spacey, and Kevin Spacey was canceled.
Oh, yeah,
so-
that's true.
You're right.
Yeah.
But it
And-
still was funny.
Anyway, let's end Ask D-Mace on a Titans question. Actually, I think there's a dad joke in here first. Let's see if we can find that dad joke quickly. Derek, what do you call a magic dog?
A magic dog.
I hope I'm going to pronounce this punchline correctly.
I don't know.
A labracadabrador.
Okay, I get it.
That's
a long
not
one.
Good. That's
That's a
just
long
not
one.
good.
It's just terrible.
I
That's
would
just
mess
not
it
good.
up. So I would mess up the joke. I would tell my kids, and they were like, "What?" I would.
That's
say,
not
"A
something you're going to take to your party
labracadabra."
tonight on a Friday night, like at the high school game. Hey, I heard this great dad joke. That's just not going to cut it. That's not
It's
going to
too
make it cut.
long. It's too long. The answer's too long.
Yeah.
If you
Too
attempt
complicated to
if you
say.
attempt to use that as a pickup line this evening, be prepared to have that drink thrown right in your face. As I struggle to spit that out. Okay, quickly, one Titans question for Derek. You are the GM of the Titans. You can hire a head coach, an offensive coordinator, and a defensive coordinator. Who are you hiring with the present team you have right now?
I can hire any head coach.
Well, if you're trying to get the most out of the team you have right now, who are you hiring as the head coach, the OC, and the
See,
DC?
that's a
Okay,
great question
I'm
because the
hiring-
theme this week is, at least of mine, is I'm not sure there's a coach out there that could do a whole lot with
But
this effort, but there's probably some
yes,
wizards
but if we were putting
that could do a
together-
little bit more.
exactly, if we were putting together a team, I would want to hire Andy Reid, but I wouldn't want my head coach to be my offensive coordinator either. So that's the only reason I'm not hiring Andy Reid, because he would be numero uno for me. But I am hiring either John Harbaugh or Mike Tomlin or Jim, one of the Harbaughs or Mike Tomlin. And then as offensive coordinator, I am hiring, let me see. Why am I forgetting his name? Washington's OC.
Cliff Kingsbury.
I'm hiring Cliff Kingsbury as my OC. I'm hiring Bones as my special teams. As my defensive coordinator, Spags. You can't go wrong with Spags. So I'm hiring Spags. So that should be a all-American coaching staff. Now, what we do with the team, I don't know.
Here's the funny thing quickly before we get to take it to the bank on the other side.
Okay, how would y'all assemble y'all coaching staff?
Let's save that for the other side. But here's the one thing about Steve Spagnuolo. I see what he's done for the Chiefs. I'm reminded of what he did not do for the New Orleans Saints as the Saints defensive coordinator. Coordinated some of the worst defenses in NFL history. That is not hyperbole. So it's interesting. It's like, oh, Spags. I love Spags. I hate Spags.
But wasn't Spags the defense coordinator for the 2 Giants Super Bowls with Eli Manning? Wasn't he defense coordinator for one of those teams? If I'm not mistaken,
I do not know off the top of my head.
No, I'm trying to think. Was he the defensive coordinator for that team?
The 2012 Saints under Steve Spagnuolo were one of the worst defenses in NFL history. I'm going to try to figure this out. I will figure it out on the other side. 615-737-1025. If you have any remaining questions for Ask D-Mace, call us, text us 615-737-1025. In the meantime, we will wrap up the week by taking it to the bank. Coming up next, Willie Dunnick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game. D. Mace, Vingan, and Donick, 102.5 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. By the way, I found it. From January of 2013, the Saints have fired defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo after one season. New Orleans ranked last in the NFL in total defense and run defense, yielding the most yards, 7,042, ever in a single season. The Saints still managed to go 7-9, though.
But doesn't that illustrate that the Jimmies and the Joes are so important? Because he has won as a defensive coordinator Super Bowls with two different teams, right? Giants and Chiefs, and also coached the worst defense in NFL history by yards, right?
Yes.
So he's the same guy. There's only so much you can do with your
roster.
X's and O's, right?
Yeah.
The roster is going to be a major
And
part.
if I recall correctly, that was the Bounty Gate season, so Sean Payton would have been suspended, if I'm not mistaken. So take that into account.
And I said this off air, and this could be a conversation for another time as we sort of get to that, if it comes, that finality comes. Do y'all think that Brian Callahan, if this thing ends prematurely this season or after the season, do you think he'll look back and say, you know what? I understand there's only 32 of these jobs, but man, I shouldn't have took this one. Because sometimes your first job can be your last job. Meaning
It's happened to
your
many
first
coaches.
head coaching job can be your last head coaching job. And I remember, I think, didn't Ben Johnson take himself out of the running for a job that year?
With Washington,
early?
if I'm not mistaken.
But he just took his name out of it. Like, I'm going to withdraw my name and just concentrate on being the Lions OC. Because I'm just wondering, like, looking back on it, if he would have just stayed as offensive coordinator in Cincinnati for another year and then waited like Ben Johnson did. Because if this thing continues to go the way it has been going, I don't think I don't think in my mind he got a fair shot because of the roster. But then again, I can't say that because he knew exactly what he was getting into when he saw this roster.
It's a good question, and one I am sure we will ponder as the Titans prepare to take on the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday at 3:05. But it is now time to take it to the bank with our friends at F&M Bank. Less worry, more living. F&M Bank, banking made easy on purpose. David James, a quick recap of last week.
All right, boys. So first off, there's some controversy, apparently. Every week it feels like there's controversy from one particular person named Willie Donick. So for starters, for the two primary questions, we had, over under 15.5 points scored by the Titans. Well, we kind of learned that lesson that, the under hit without
I'd
any
say the under
chance.
hit. Yeah, the under hit.
Like it's ridiculous. All right.
And who was the only person who chose under?
I think his name's Adam.
Did Willie also choose
No,
under?
Willie did not say under.
Why you raise your hand? Really?
Why'd you do
He's
that?
trying to get some extra points.
Oh, I thought I got it wrong.
Yeah. You got it wrong.
My lack of faith in the Titans was rewarded.
Yes.
So take that.
All right. So then we had, this is where the controversy is. How many yards will Nico Collins have against the Titans? Now, again, I wanted this to be, let's decide. Let's pick. And, let me ask you this. Is it fair to say if y'all were 10 yards off, I could give y'all a point, correct? Everyone would say that's fair?
How many yards did he have?
He had 79 yards.
Okay.
And what did Willie say?
Willie said 65.
Was I the closest of the panel?
Yes.
But you don't win no
But you were
points because you
10
said
but you were-
65.
You were more than 10 yards off.
Yeah, that's
But
like.
nobody was going to get it exactly.
No, I agree. But
But
then
if
I
you're
put
like
the
a
10
yard or
yards.
two off of 5 yards, then okay.
Like over 10 yards is like, I mean, come on. Like
In The Price is Right, when they put the item up for bids, I would be up there. I would have got up there with Bob Barker.
You can submit your
grievance
with David. He'll probably throw it in the garbage.
I will.
But you can submit your grievance.
This
So
isn't the green Gatorade debate like last year. All right.
Okay.
This is
So none of us got points. For
Nobody
that.
got
points. No points.
Okay.
I feel like I should have got up.
All right.
no.
No.
I was by far the closest, wasn't I?
Yeah,
You
by
were
far,
at
yes.
100.
Well,
Because
Willie, if
I
we
was
was playing horseshoes or you were throwing a hand grenade, we'd
Okay.
be fine, okay?
Would it be different if it was Adam in this situation and not you? Or if it
No,
was
I
D-Mace in
think
this
the
situation?
closest person should get it, and I would make a motion too to let's have over under, so we don't have to worry about this. Like this is
All
totally
right,
arbitrary.
all right,
Okay.
all right,
It's
all right.
arbitrary
Now I
on
gotta
how
go
close
back.
you have to be. We didn't make a rule on this. That's another loophole that Derek benefits from.
Oh,
I never get the loophole.
Oh, wow. Now, how did I get thrown in this?
We have to make our picks
All right.
for today, so let David finish.
I'm just gonna say the points. Adam, you only got one right, so you got 1 point. So you have 23 total points.
Okay.
Willie, you got one right out of your picks, which was the Virginia one. So you had 3 total points, which you're still in the lead for 33 total points. And D-Mace, you got 1 point because you got the Utah State to cover the 22.5.
Yep.
So you have 15. You're at 15 total points.
I only got 1 point for
You
that?
got 3.
Oh, I was about to say.
You had 12, and so you had 3 more, and you got 15.
Okay, thank
and
Did I get
David-
3 points?
Yeah, no, you got 1
For
Yeah.
what?
for the primary questions.
I only get 1 for that?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. This is like whose line
All
is it
right,
anyway?
all right, you guys are all just gonna complain. Let it
Hey,
go
I'm not
complain.
complaining. Give me my 3
You
points.
guys wanted the primary questions.
Okay.
All right. And then I only got 0 points.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah. All right. Now,
Only got
All
0.
right. So now,
Willie, you start.
Okay, what are the
okay, I've got
questions of the week?
I've
Yeah.
got the 2 primary questions.
Oh yeah, I
this
forgot.
week.
I mean, that's primary.
I have the primary questions this week. 1 Titans related, 1 Vanderbilt related. So here is the Titans related question. Calvin Ridley did not practice twice this week. He was limited this week. He's questionable for the game against the Arizona Cardinals. So he could play. He could not play. If he does play, he may be limited.
Mm-hmm.
So over under Alec Iomanner receptions against the Cardinals at 3.5.
I'm going over.
I'll take over.
I'm also gonna go over.
We'll all go over. We'll all take the over on that one.
Okay.
Second common question. Will the final score of Vanderbilt, Alabama, and at the moment, Alabama is favored by 11.5. Will the final score of Vanderbilt, Alabama be within single digits, regardless of who wins? Will the final score of Alabama, Vanderbilt be within single digits?
Whoa. No.
Willie?
You know I hate being involved in a pick that involves Vanderbilt. Coach Willie is just trying to keep me from speaking. But I'll say yeah.
You say it will be within single digits.
I will.
I will say
I could be made to eat these words. That I feel it's going to be a good game.
I will say will be. I also say will be a good game, but I do think maybe Alabama gets a touchdown or a field goal near the end of the game to push it into double digits. So I will say the final score will not be within single digits.
I believe it will be in single digits.
Okay. Now the individual portion of the program. I will go first.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a Marvin Harrison Jr. anytime touchdown against the Tennessee Titans for the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday. And give me, this game features 2 coaches I really don't like. Clemson at North Carolina. But I will side with Dabo on this one. Give me Clemson minus 13.5 to cover at North Carolina. I think the Tigers are about to lay the smackdown on the Tar Heels. So give me Clemson to cover at Carolina. I think that's tomorrow.
Okay.
Derek?
All right. I'm going baseball since it's playoffs.
Oh, okay.
You know where I'm going. Give me the Tigers to win tomorrow. Okay. I don't know what the line is on that one.
Just an outright win tomorrow.
Yeah, just an outright win. No cover, no nothing. Just an outright win tomorrow. The Tigers will. And then my second one, Diego Pavia will account for at least 2 touchdowns this weekend.
Okay. Willie?
Yeah, I am gonna go with the one. I'm gonna keep riding the wave. It's worked for me so far. Miami minus 4.5 at Florida State. I think it's gonna be a fun game, but I think Miami is the better team, and I think it's gonna be a great atmosphere. But I think Miami. This is one of the better, more anticipated Miami Florida State games in a while. It kind of went off the radar for a while. but I'll take Miami minus 4.5. And I will take Texas A&M minus the 16.5 to pull away from Mississippi State. Marcel Reed and company.
David?
All right, so I believe that the Memphis Tigers versus Tulsa game, which is this Saturday as well at 7 p.m., I think Memphis will cover 20.5. And I think that the under for the Texans versus Ravens game, which is at 40.5, will happen because the Ravens they're bad. So are the Texans. I mean, it's just
Okay. You've heard us. We'll see what happens this weekend. Vanderbilt versus Alabama tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. College game day, ABC. It'll be one hell of a game. I anticipate that. Titans and Cardinals, that's probably not going to be a hell of a game, but we're going to watch it on Sunday at 3:05, and then we'll talk about all of it on Monday at 3 o'clock. We will be live from the Circa Sportsbook inside the Mint Gaming Hall in Franklin, Kentucky. Have a wonderful weekend. We will talk to you Monday at 3 o'clock.
Be loved, love on your people. Have a safe, blessed, and wonderful weekend. I love you. The team loves you. You hear that music? Don't forget about us. It's going to be a long weekend with a lot of football. But one thing you know, come Monday at 3, we will be back. DVD. Love you. Peace.